This committee has a task to meet the policymakers and ensure the adequate funding. Okay, go to the national framework. Okay. Yes. So that one presented is a model for Zamfara State. In our work plan, we presented the work plan, but that is not the final of it. We are here to see what can be added and what can be removed out of it. So now let us look at the national framework of action, how to reduce out-of-school children in Nigeria, so that from there, widely, we can look at what works well, that is going to work for us, and what is not working well, then we remove it. Yes. Okay, go to the next page.
I think the projector is not on.
Okay. So here, Nigeria is committed. Nigeria commitment to universal basic education. We all know Nigeria is committed to achieving the universal basic education. We have 1999 UBEC program, and we have 2004 UBE Act, out of which to provide greater access and ensure the quality of basic education in Nigeria. Then we also, through the UBEC Act, UBE Act, to stipulate what pre-compulsory and universal basic education for grade 1 to 9, or 6 years of primary school followed by 3 years of JSS. UBEC intervention, that is to improve access to education, to ensure quality and equity of UBE service delivery. So you see, challenges. The challenges here globally, we have 10.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, globally. In Nigeria at the primary education level and 8.1 million at JSS level. 15% of out-of-school children in Nigeria globally are identified in the northern part of Nigeria. UBEC 2002 International Assessment Exercise provide this, that learning from the past year's implementation of different out-of-school children's strategies, what worked well, what did not work, and the way forward. The finding from the assessment and the learning from other partners who have been engaged in addressing out-of-school children are to inform the design of the framework of action to reduce out-of-school children in Nigeria. That is to say, the different bodies that have been working, the Bureau of the BESDA, then the annual school census, and all other bodies that work on out-of-school children to harmonize and to give us the action, the framework of action. The achievements and challenges as a result of the previous out-of-school work done in Nigeria. Access to education to improve over the past decade. That is what was done before, where we are today. Student enrollments. If you look from 2010 to 2018, 2010 we have 21.6% increase. But in 2018, we have 28.1. This shows there is achievement and there is increase. Then, as per school net attendance, also rate in primary school, in 2007, we have 64.4%. Then in 2001, we have 68%. There is increase also. Then the challenge is out-of-school rate for primary school age. This one, you see, is also an achievement because in 2018 we have 37% out-of-school children, but in 2012 it dropped to 32%. So there is increase here also, because we have 37 in 2018, but presently in 2001 is 32%. So the out-of-school rate drops. So achievement and challenges continues in the education sector. 15 out-of-school children globally are in Nigeria. 10.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria are primary school age, and 8.1 million out-of-school children are at junior secondary school level. Then 1 in 3 each children is out of school in Nigeria. 12.4 million out-of-school children never attended school. 5.9 million out-of-school children left school early. That is, they started, they never complete. During our meeting at Sokoto, a question was asked: who are out-of-school children? How do you define them? We need to also tell ourselves, who do we mean by these out-of-school children? Who are they? Where are they? And what are their qualities and characteristics that we can easily identify them? It's an assignment that is given to all of us to know, maybe because there are state peculiarities, there are community peculiarities. What other community may tend to mean as out-of-school children, it may not be the same here in our own community. So let us all tender and think of this meaning of out-of-school children. So, and more than 50% of girls are not attending school at the basic education level. And it was also found out through the previous data that only 1 in 3 adolescents are eligible for senior secondary school education are attending schools. That is to say, the number is dropping. From primary school, greater number. When it comes to JSS, the number drops. And when it goes to secondary school, also it decreases. Why? So, a framework of action developed to reduce the number of out-of-school children and drive access to education. So those are the techniques and strategies to be followed globally, which when we look at it, we take what is viable and leave others. Internal assessment, learning from various out-of-school children's strategies. We have to develop our own strategies of catching these out-of-school children. Then identify what worked, what did not work, and way forward. Then framework of action. We have to develop our own action plan. Build an internal assessment, stakeholders consultations. Then framework committees commit to substantially and systematically decrease the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria by 2030. That is the target. All this one we are trying to discuss today and upward is to make sure that by 2030 a substantial number of out-of-school children is been taken care of. To have the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria by 2030. Already we know our number, 10.2 million people in Nigeria. So to reduce them by 2030. Vision, rationale, and principles. United Convention on the Right of the Child. Provision of access to education and protection of the right of this right. The responsibility of the government. Framework is grounded of holding UBEC 3 guiding principles. Already UBEC is committed. So universal access. Universal access, that is to say, we have to provide the opportunity for all, as we all know, pre-compulsory education. The radical inclusion. This radical inclusion includes all the children, the vulnerable children, those with disabilities, all inclusive. We will not leave other children that has difficulty in learning out. We should have a way of bringing them in, that is radical inclusion. Quality learning and teaching with respect to out-of-school children, So go to the next. So a framework of action, engaging stakeholders to build ownership. We have to build ownership among ourselves. We here, the policymakers and stakeholders, we have to build ownership within us, and we have to instill it in the community that these things we are trying to do is to help them. So that was why during that meeting, the resource person there tried to teach us one energizer that he asked us to repeat. He divided the class into 3. He asked a question, to whom to? That is, to whom does this school belongs to? To whom does these children that are out of school belongs to? Who owns them? Is we. We are the community. These are our children. One day they are going to come back and benefit us. So he asked a question, to whom to? To whom does it belong to? Then at the end of the day he said, to us. Because when we train them and they were well trained, they become responsible and useful to themselves and to the community, the benefit is back to us. So to whom does it belong to? To us. So this is engaging stakeholders to build ownership. That is political actors. That's number one. Gaining political will and government commitment. They said that they have the resources, they have the intervention, and they are ready to release the intervention. They assured us that our money is there in large quantity, stock, but unless we work and plan, then they will release. They are here to assist us, but they want us to own the schools, to know that this schools is ours, the money with them is ours, but they want us to work in the way of accessing those funds so that we can help our children. So the political will is number one. Best practices and alternative pathway, defeating learning poverty. This is an issue that is always militating against any program. So the best practice and alternative of liberating this poverty issue, we have to discuss it and find alternative ways. Then community accountability, engaging stakeholders to build ownership through SBMC, CBMs, community heads, religious leaders, and traditional rulers, to let them know that this is their own. That was why from inception, when we want to go and identify schools, we allow the traditional leaders to do it. Let them identify the out-of-school children. Let us engage through our zonal office and ESs to put heads together to work with the traditional rulers to assign them to identify the out-of-school children from communities. After identifying them, the list is brought, then we go on advocacy. Then technology and ICT, improving access through innovative solutions. This innovative solution also involved vocational and technical training of these out-of-school children. It will not just be a formal learning in the classroom, no, but how to take them through vocational and technical issues so that by the time an out-of-school child is being brought and being trained for at least 6 months, from there a direction can be taken. Either for him, if we have found him worthy, intellectual, okay, cognitive IQ is working well, we move him to JSS. But if he hasn't had that IQ talent to go for formal learning, then we continue with him in vocational and technical issues. So here, the technology and ICT should come in here in order to make sure that the out-of-school children may choose a way to continue. Financing mechanisms, reducing the most vulnerable. So this one, all hands are to be on deck. The policymakers, the political leaders, the NGOs are all here to finance this most-vulnerable issue. Then the objectives is there already. Thematic area 1, the imperative and responsive of political actors in confronting out-of-school children phenomenon key intervention. That is strengthening data collection on out-of-school children at risk of dropping out. There are those of them that they started schooling, they drop out, or they are at the risk of dropping out. We have to identify them and remedy the immediate issue there. Strengthening and enforcing the legal and policy framework on out-of-school and adopting social protection scheme to support families with out-of-school issues. So there is need for some program and intervention that will target parents that has low capacity of helping their children. There is one program recently, parental intervention. We were asked to bring data and some women from the community, parental intervention, through which parents can be assisted to assist their children. So there is also implementing high-level evidence-based advocacy on addressing out-of-school children. We have HILWA, we have other high-level evidence-based advocacy groups, NGOs and SCOs, the SBMCs, they are all inclusive here. Go to the next page. So thematic area 3, community accountability and mobilizing positive response toward addressing the out-of-school phenomenon. Then the strengthening capacity of SBMCs in monitoring student enrollment and preventing school dropout. So SBMC cannot be emphasized here. strengthening advocacy and sensitization capacity of community groups, youth, advocates, mothers association, and implementing a national advocacy and sensitization campaign. All these groups are very relevant in coming together. So thematic area 4, leveraging on the technologies, innovations, and ICT to increase access to learning for out-of-school children, creating a enabling legal environment for technology-based provision of education. Then facilitating learning of out-of-school through technology-driven solution and enhancing digital skills. This enabling environment and through technology-driven solutions, we attended a meeting with the UBEC, that is on school to work. We went there on school to work. What they taught us there is within our conventional schools, there should be created a period or a day that is mainly for technical and vocational skills. Out of the 5 days, Niger State has already started. She said that already she removes Friday. When the students were there, they engaged on technical and she divided the schools of Niger's basic education from primary 6, JSS 1 to 3. They were learning vocation on one day, that is Friday. They will taught them different skills as to whatever the interest of the child may be. So by the time the child finishes JSS, he already has a skill of his own that he can, if he wish to transit, it's good. If he didn't wish to transit, he have a skill to continue with. Okay, let's go to the next page. Thematic area 5, financing. Developing sustainable financing mechanism for addressing the out-of-school challenges, intervention, sensitization, financial support, and strengthening partnership with private and civil society. So the financing here, both the government, the political will, then the private and civil society should all come together to have a partnership, leveraging additional financing for out-of-school intervention through community fundraising campaign. So community fundraising campaign also is necessary here. Reducing the cost of school for out-of-school children, providing greater transparency on legitimate school charges. So here we come to the setting the stage for group discussion. Question to reflect on: what interventions are effective in improving access to education for out-of-school children and bringing them back to school? What are the interventions that we need? This is a question that we need to provide answers to. What didn't work and shouldn't be considered? We have to look at the whole thing and see what we can do to improve our own state in particular. Because to whom does it belong to? To us. Thank you very much.
What about what work and needs to be improved?
Our very able presenter, thank you very much for this thought-provoking presentation that you have given to us. And as you dwelt very much on the 5 thematic areas, we need to ponder and move out of the issue of pondering on what you have just presented to us, but to look at actionable points that will ensure we make progress and we move forward. Because that's what's the most important thing. What are those actionable points that we need to follow to ensure that we make progress? One thing that's very clear to me, very, very clear, is that this time around, there is no shortage of political will. The political will is there. It's only for us to exploit that political will. The government in place is willing to go the whole hog to ensure that education is given its right position in the scheme of things. Hence, the effort of the executive governor to declare a state of emergency on education. That shows clear testimony of the fact that, yes, the government is serious. And we have to be very serious in order to give that, because it is one thing to drive or to drag the horse to the river. But it's another thing to force it to drink water. The governor, Dauda Lawal, has dragged us to the river. He has declared a state of emergency on education. Now what is left is for us to capitalize on that and do what is needful to ensure that we drink the water. And translate to doing all the necessary things that will ensure that we get all of these millions of out-of-school children, we bring them back to school. Let them learn. Let there be quality education at all levels in the state. It's only then that we'll be able to develop and then ensure, practical development in our state. Thank you very much, like I said, for your presentation, which is very thought-provoking, and which I will now declare that all of us who are willing to contribute, to make observations, or to ask questions, you are free to do so. No, ma, you are not going away, ma. I just want us to appreciate what you have done and call on our people, even though a good number of us are eating, to give her a very good sound round of applause. So now we go to the question and answer session, observations, contributions, suggestions, and whatever. So as usual, let's start from the front.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much. I want to join the Honorable Commissioner for congratulating Propriety for a very wonderful presentation. We are not surprised she is a teacher, a lecturer to the core. So we are not expecting anything less. Having said that, I wanted to make an observation, but in the course of her presentation, she addressed my concern because she mentioned something about increased demand for education. Maybe as we embark on advocacy. I wanted to say, in every document, we need to reflect inclusive and quality education. That's what we're advocating for, and it's even the SDG goal. The education should be qualitative and inclusive. And again, the increase
of out of school. I think we have been discussing that who are those out of schools. So from my own understanding, subject to probably approval of the House here, I think there are those that did not go to school at all, probably from their youthful, children age up to the time they are supposed to even complete secondary school. And then there are those, probably they have started primary school and then they stopped. They didn't continue to JSS. They are also considered by this presentation as out of school. And then there are those also that started JSS and they could not continue to senior secondary school. They are also considered by this presentation as out of school. So I think these are some of the things probably I understood based on this presentation that we have to take care of. How do we identify those that finished primary school and could not continue due to one reason or the other, and we now bring them back to continue to JSS? And how do we identify also those that finished JSS could not continue to SS? And how do we even also identify those that are starting primary and could not finish to the primary 6? And then the same thing JSS, they started, they could not finish, and as well SS. I think that is the comment I want to make. Thank you very much, sir.
I think before we go to the next interventionist, what I would say is, let us simplify this word out of school.
That's the assignment that was given in Sokoto.
And I believe we have age brackets within which explanation have been made. From age 6 to age 17 or 19 at most. These are people that are supposed to be within the primary school age to secondary school age, to secondary school. Those people within those ages, they are supposed to be in school now, at whatever level that is, from a relevant level, but they are not. Simple. They are supposed to be in the school, either between the age of maybe 6 to 11, or 12 to 15, or 16 to 19, 18, and 17, 18, or whatever, because there is that slight difference in terms of peculiarity. Some maybe due to origin, their age will be a little bit higher. They are within those categories, within those components of education, whether basic, they call it, sometimes they call it maybe lower basic, middle basic, and upper basic, and then the SSC, the senior secondary school education. They are supposed to be in school, but you find them roaming about, not in school. I think those that we want to believe are out of school children, within those age range that have been accomplished. So I think there is no magic about identifying who they are. We know who they are. And we know that it is because they are not in school when they are supposed to be in school. That's why we are calling them out of school children. So the issue is, how do we identify those children within the society? How do we pick them up? How do we talk to them? What are those factors that push them out of school? How can we mitigate those factors? What other methodologies, what other strategies that will bring that will allow them to come back to the system at whatever level they are, so that they continue with their education? I think that's our assignment. So let us not make it too technical for us, so that people will be afraid of addressing the issue. Let's simplify this and let's take it over. I think I'll go to Dr. Marina Ibrahim.
For the explanation of the Honorable Commissioner, I'm about to satisfy. Because I want to know, we have formal, informal, and non-formal school system. So whether our students, they are offering informal and non-formal education, so can we consider them as out of school just because they are not using syllabus, they are not going to normal schools as informal education? That is what I want to have more clarification about.
I think maybe this question is thrown to me. And I've earlier on mentioned that that's a challenge we have to convince the outside world that those in Quranic schools, those in Islamia schools, those in Nizamiya schools, those in Zangaya, they are not out of school children. Because from some of them from 6 o'clock in the morning, you don't see them on the street up until 10 o'clock, 11. They are in school. Only that it is not the Western type of education that they are attending, but their malams are there handling them, giving them education, though Islamic education, giving them morality, teaching them ethics, teaching them life skills, even though not practical life skills, but theoretical life skills on how to live their lives. So they are in school, not out of school. That's why I say we need to convince ourselves and convince the outside world that we cannot categorize those children as out of school children. Because we have to give proper definition of what is school. Before the coming of Western education, people were taught. They were learning. They had education, very sound and solid education. In fact, in terms of morality, their education was by far better than what we are having today. So why should we say that they are not educated? Why do you term them, or those who are now following that system, why do you call them out of school children? My own understanding of the issue is not about going to school. It's about the almajiris that are roaming about the streets. My own, this is personal. I'm not talking of the officialism. Personally, I'm looking at it that way. Because it is because we are seeing al-Majiri in motor parks, in marketplaces, in other areas, going about with their balls begging for food or for money or for whatever. That's why we say they are out of school children. And because their timing of schooling is different from that of Western education. Because by afternoon, they are supposed to have gone out and then go and look for food. They come back later in the afternoon, around 3 o'clock or 4. They will also be in school until in the evening, towards the Maghrib period, before they close. Even at night, some of them have to go to school and they attend classes in school. So why do we say they are out of school children? That's why I say we have a very big challenge to convince the outside world that this is also another system of education. What we need is to refine the system. to give it a first lift, to give it acceptance, to allow the Malams to understand that there is more to just giving them the memorization aspect of education, that they can learn more out of this situation than just the theoretical knowledge that they are given. They are also Nigerians. They are also part and parcel of the development of Nigeria. They have what to give in order to ensure that there is development within themselves, within their societies and the country in general. How do we come in? That's why we are talking about one, integration of Quranic education into the Western education we are bringing in. That's why we are talking of bringing skills into Quranic schools, Islamia schools, so that they learn skills that will assist them to live a very good life for themselves. That's why we are talking about, building the Zangaya schools, so that by the time the integration process continues, the other Malams will begin to learn that, yes, if we can put our children in one place with certain interventions from non-governmental organizations, from the government itself, from philanthropists that will assist, we can finish off this demon. Even Islam itself does not accept begging. Islam is against people going out begging for food. Islam has encouraged people to go and earn a living by themselves. Then why should it be that we and our parents and our malams will insist that for you to get educated, you have to go out and beg? And look at the kind of children that are being said, given the opportunity for parents to abdicate from their moral, religious, and financial responsibilities. They will only push a child or they push children to the malams. Nothing to assist the malams throughout the year. And for the malams, they don't have the farms to go and farm. They don't have any other business doing that will ensure that these children are fed. They rely on these children to go and get food for them to eat as well. If a child does not bring anything in as contribution, that child is punished. And that child will head schooling, whatever schooling that you are talking about. So we have a lot of responsibility to carry. And that's why I said the body is on us here to make a difference. We have to come forward to it. Pamsek, I hope I've answered that issue. All right, Secretary.
Hello, first of all, I want to comment the her presentation, which is really very, very much interesting, and it's necessary for also development of the work plan. So my question is, I'm thinking that she has mentioned 5 important thematic areas for the intervention of out of school. So I'm wondering whether these thematic areas have been captured in the work plan, because it is very necessary to look at them while developing the work plan. This is my question.
Let her answer.
We developed the work plan right from Sokoto. So Kedi developed Sokoto and Zamfara, and it was there also. We put the advocacy to the policymakers and stakeholders. That's number 1. To sell the idea, to tell them what they are expected to do and what contribution they are supposed to give into it, the funding precisely, and the intention of the UNICEF precisely on what to give to us as far this. Maybe it's just to give like a counter-funded into it, but the major funding is coming from UNICEF. But they want the commitment of the states. They want the commitment of the states that to make sure that they own the project. Let them own the project. The project is going to be intervened by the NGO for us, but let the state have the ownership. They want us to feel it in our blood that it is our own, and it is there in our work plan. Yes, that is item number 1 is advocacy to the political leaders, the policymakers, and stakeholders. That is number 1. Until they buy the idea, then we embark on the other issues. Thank you.
Secretary, I think your concern has been addressed. Okay. Any other one? Okay, somebody there. So let's have last three interventions. One is secure, then we have nomadic there, and then, okay, let's have.
Presented and well-articulated people with very good 5 thematic areas. I've observed within the thematic area she has discussed, she mentioned where skill acquisition is going to be integrated into the school system. And I'm looking at what of those that are doing the skill acquisition and they have not passed through the school, but they have acquired the knowledge of the skill acquisitions, like the carpenters, mechanics, roadside mechanics, etc. That they have this learning and they have the ability. So how do we integrate them into, and what level do we consider them into the system now that we are talking about? Thank you.
So we shall not address them as out of school. But I think here the argument is going to be on whether the malams will agree to submit the request of putting in the Western education into the centers. Because I can remember in 2013 when I was posted as local government area coordinator with Mass Education Board, I taught in the primary school at Endoto. So when I transferred my service to Mass Education Board, I was opportuned, or we were opportuned to have a sort of integration with these Quranic schools, where UNICEF donated some amount of money for the repairment of centers, that is these Islamic centers. So one of the members there asked me, "Hey, Master, you are there now, and you are not helping us." I said, "No, we are ready to assist you people. Which school do you want us to enroll?" He gave me one school, and I carried my people who went to the school. That person, that man in that school said, "Oh, you mean you are going to teach ABCD in my school?" Do you know what? Malam Abzawiya said, "Whenever A is written, you are finished." Yes, so many of them have this feeling. When we know that Dr. Zawiya here is part and parcel of the university there, we know this. Their children are graduates. We know this. So the misconception is from our malams, who sometimes even think that you are trying to change the system, that they are on it already. Again, at Save, I went to a school. We went there to scout for intervention at one school there. The man said, "My children went to this Western school, but I will not allow you to bring lesson into my school because I did not discuss with their parents. But I have people that have an NCE, I have children that have an NCE and what I do." So the point of potential here is that really these Arabic schools are in existence for a long time and they have been helping, and definitely they know how to read and write. Even before the Western people come to Nigeria, we are on it, we know. But now is that we are trying to put in this Western education because of making the English lingua franca, so that our children knows they are left and right and learn skills. This is it. So development potential, I think, is going to be we have to have a sort of column to our mothers so that they adopt, they agree with the concept of introducing the Western education into their centers. That is to add more to what they are already having. Thank you very much.
To what my honorable commissioner said about Arabic school and Islamia school. Those school was existed before the Western education. Malam education, all the knowledge we are acquiring, all the knowledge in the world we are acquiring came from Quran. Whatever it is, it came from Quran. Therefore, Nima Avenina is the most important knowledge to our students or to our children.
children. Therefore, we cannot call them out of school because they are having the most important education. That is all my.
All these gathering, I think we should, and we need to thank him for knowing in and out of this education. Just of the recent concluded JCE meeting, these are the issues discussed. The chairlady or the chairperson deputizing the director planning Federal Ministry of Education was there. She emphasized on who is an out-of-school child. They said a child between the age of 5 to 18 who cannot write informal education or non-formal education. This has been specified. So the issue of this Quranic school and what they are not out-of-school children. She was the one who has even said it there. One, she's from the South. Two, she stood up before everyone raised up her hand. She said people are misunderstanding the issue of out-of-school children. She even emphasized that those in Islamic school and Majlis schools, they are not out-of-school children. The last meeting we went in Sokoto, Director, Chairperson, Senior Secondary School is there. PM, permanent member, one is there. The same focal person was there. He said, before we get out of this hall, let's agree to define who is an out-of-school child. Because the issue will be from us. The definition should come from us. The definition we accept, the meaning we give, is the meaning they will reflect it back to UNICEF or the sponsor of this program. So please, if we go straight, let's go straight on what are we supposed to do and what are we supposed to chip in this work plan in order to achieve the aims and objectives of this gathering. One, we all believe, right from the World Gold Commissioner has said it. Before the creation of Zamfara State, we are under Sokoto State. Everyone knows our children go to school, whether formal or non-formal. And we believe with that non-formal, we have been having, what do I say, Sharia, Justice Sharia Implementation Committee, that has not gone to this Western education, but the Islamic ones, they give advice on that. So do you want to call them as out-of-school children? So the definition is between the age of 5 to 16 who cannot write with formal or non-formal. That's all. So our able commissioner, thanks for presentation. Because without you, I believe this gathering will have not been here by now. Because a lot of theories will have come up. So we believe the commissioner knows the education. And he is there to guide us on the education. And we should stand for him for.
Somebody else. We want to have a customized definition for Zamfara, right? Yes, of course, that is why it is, you have to localize any national policy or whatever it is. Now, if we say these almajiris are in school, then what about those children that are just on the street begging without attaching themselves to any school? Because we have them. They are not in any almajiri school. So those ones can be out of school. Is that? So let's be very clear about this thing we're saying. It's not every almajiri who stay on the street that are attached to any Quranic school. So while defining, we need to be very clear in not generalizing the almajiri system as in school, but those children are street children that are begging without being attached to any school, they are very clear as out-of-school children. That is one part. Then the second one, which is the last one. The last speaker, which is the director of planning, he defined out of school as somebody who cannot write or read.
What of those children in school that cannot write? Then the definition will not stand. Thank you.
You see, that's why I said we should try as much as possible to understand the misconceptions. That's why I said from the age of 6 to the age of 19, those within age group, at least by virtue of the Constitution, by virtue of the National Policy of Education, they are supposed to be in school at whatever level. If they are not in school, they are out of school. Whatever it is, so long as they are not in school, they are out of school. That's one misconception that we should correct. The second misconception that we are supposed to correct is on the issue of bringing in the Almajiris as out of school. We should correct that wrong misconception because they attend school. They have timing. They have, let's say, periods. Only that their own is not organized in the form of the Western system of education. What we are looking for now, like he has said, is who are those children who they don't belong to any of these systems of education and they are still roaming the streets. I know we know that exists. That's why I said, who are them? Because they are the ones that we are going to look for and then bring them back into the schooling system. 1. 2, how do we reorganize through advocacy, sensitization? The malams that my brother here is talking about, that they don't want those children to be, they want their education to be integrated. That's one funny part of it. Go to all the Quranic schools that we have. Check and see. The malams, their children don't go out for begging. Their children go out and attend up to the university level. Some are PhD holders. But those their children are there. Why? Why? That question is why. They know the value of education and they give to their children quality education. But they bring in other people's children in. If you want to do it, why don't you ask the parents to contribute? Pay. I'm going to train your child. Pay me. Give me money so that I feed your child, I accommodate your child, so that you don't have to go out for begging. But why exploit? Because that is an act of exploitation. As far as I'm concerned, this is a personal view as well. It is simply exploitation. Exploiting children, other parents' children, and then for those that are sending in their children, it's an application from their responsibilities. And as a government, we should try to look at how do we convince these people. You see, while we have a law that advocates for sanctions, you cannot implement that law. Let us be honest to ourselves. So a lot of advocacy, sensitization, cajoling will do the work. Because when you go to the rural areas, mostly they are the ones sending their children for Almajiri schools. Are you going to arrest all of them and then put them inside jail? Because they have failed to know they have violated the educational law? It's not going to be possible. But what we need is aggressive advocacy and sensitization. Very, very aggressive one. And part of what is happening now, especially in this new administration, is that people are beginning to learn and understand that hard work pays. You work hard, you get a reward for it, unlike before. And that is why sometimes people are seeing that the present executive governor is very hard on people. But he is trying to teach people the hard way, and I believe, I am a supporter of that one, that formally go to the government house. It is almost like a marketplace. Everybody is there because the reliance is on government to do everything. Now this man says, don't go to government house. We have done election campaign and everything we have done. Let's see how we are going to help you. But go out and earn a living for yourself. Don't rely on government to do everything for you. Government cannot do it for you. Go out there, come up with something, let us assist you, let us help you. And that's the only way out. Our people have started to understand. That is the reality we should allow to go into our heads. That yes, you don't have to wait for government to do everything for you. Go out there and eliminate for yourself. Do the hard work. Do everything. Let the government see where it can intervene to assist you so that at least it solidifies whatever effort you are making so that it comes into fruition. That's just what we are trying to do. So certainly, to address your observations, it's not just about those. That's what we'll be looking for. Are those children that are out there, no form of schools they are attached to, no job that they are doing. And one other difficult issue about us here, especially we the Hausas, I don't know whether it is for the parents or for societal values or whatever. Go to the Southwest. A child that has been taken for apprenticeship, he will be there for the number of months or years that he will serve as an apprentice. It is hard work and hard work and hard work. It's after he graduates from the apprenticeship, that's when he is given what they call freedom, and then he is supported to come and eliminate whatever this is the master will give you. That's when he will say, okay, these are your tools as a starter pack, and this is the amount of money I'm giving you for you to go there and establish yourself. Take a house boy to a mechanic and ask him to learn mechanic. In the next 1 week, he will run away. Why is it that? Attach him to a carpenter to go and learn how to construct furniture. In the next 1 week, he will not be there. Why is it so? And we want to enjoy life. That is the most difficult aspect of it. That's why we say, okay, let's see how we can now incorporate that one into the school system. And that's why we're talking about having it where it starts, creating and equipping our schools with the necessary equipment. Technical schools, our junior secondary schools should have the necessary equipment that will teach skills. When recruiting our teachers, we should give emphasis on recruiting teachers that have skills that they will teach our children. That we should start gradual living from certificate-based education to skills-based education. Look at an example of China. What is happening in China? Even little children in the nursery school, what they are being taught are issues on skills. Skills to speak English. The English is not there. Even if it means we go back to our local language, teach our children the skills that are needed for them to live a very useful life to themselves and to society. Let's do it. After all, the policy on education has given the first 3 years of primary education that teaching should take place in the local language. But the parents are not happy about that one. They always want their children to speak English language like the white man. So from nursery 1, let the child be taught English language. At the end of the day, the head of the child, by the time the young man has finished university, will be full of English. But ask him to do something he cannot do. I'm sorry, please, I'm not trying to, embarrass anybody. But somebody will graduate HND or BSc, mechanical engineering. That person cannot fix a plug, cannot clean a plug. If the starter of his vehicle fails to work, he cannot go and work on it. Rather, it is that informal mechanic that is outside there on the street that I will bring to come back and do it. Education is that one. Like I said, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody's, but let us have everything so that at least we see that there is need for a comprehensive review of our educational system. That we need to have the skills even if we don't speak good English. Go to construction sites, especially very big construction sites that you see in this country. The Chinaman is there. His English is broken everywhere. But when the skills is there, once he finishes his construction, you see a work of art. Something very good, something that will last. And that's why we are running there to go and buy their things. Now the Chinese man, drug, he can make the most effective drug, he can make it medium effective, and he can make the ineffective one. So these are issues that we should look into. So as far as I'm concerned, in Zamfara State, what we need is skills-based education. And we have to work towards that one. And this is where this is the beginning, this is the area, these are the people that will champion that responsibility. We have another presentation. The next one, please. The next one, I say we have.
Please, another round of applause to Dr. Rabia Samopara. This paper is well articulated. It's taking a lot of time. People enjoy.
To bring back all what we are missing in the field of education. They are supporting our programs, supplying materials. Just last time, some few months ago, we have seen how materials were distributed to basic institutions for effective learning. And inshallah, more is coming so that educational resources will be provided in all institutions for better learning and retention in school. That will encourage both parents and students or the learners to go back to school or to remain in school and learn instead of roaming about the streets. We have the implementation of educational policies. Alhamdulillah, we have to congratulate ourselves once again. After the NEC, National Education Council meeting last year, NCE, sorry, after the NCE, what we have not witnessed before, but through the effort of Honorable Commissioner, Permanent Secretary, and some other key individuals, we were called all upon to sit, analyze, and find our faults so that we can be able to improve on what we are lacking. That's a big success and a very big encouragement so that other stakeholders feel that they are part and parcel of policy implementation. All what was discussed at the NCE meeting, we sat down, we deliberated. All MDAs were highlighted on what area to take. The Permanent Secretary is really following it up to ensure that issues are taken as they are desired to be. We have the government is implementing the Child Rights Act. In this act, already the House of Assembly has passed the law, and it's been implemented or processed by the state government. That is, each and every child is supposed to be educated. You are supposed to have one form of education or the other. As we describe out of school children, is somebody that is supposed to be in school and is not in school. Whatever school we are saying, you are supposed to belong to any of your interest. So the state government is making it available by arranging for the retention and completion of these our young ones or those that have dropped out by settling the WAEC, NECO, and NAPTEP examination fees. That has really encouraged parents to bring in more those that were really dragging their legs and sending their children to school. This noble work and supportive activity by the government has not just reawaken our society generally. But it has boosted the morale of even the students themselves. Before they said, even if we write the examination, we are not going to see the results, so we will not remain in the school. But now, as school principals or school administrators, you find that enrollment has increased, retention is there. Those that have left, they are coming back because they know that they will be assisted for completion. If there is no evaluation, you cannot complete. So examinations that are registered for and taken are being released. Many of our students are now just what the provost has said. They are witnessing increase in enrollment in their schools. So alhamdulillah, thanks to the government of Dawda Lawal. Through these activities and the cooperation with some of the NGOs, we have as I said earlier, renovation and construction of our institutions of learning, making it very conducive for learners to remain and encouraging those that are outside to come and have the taste of the good environment. We have seen also Agile, that is rehabilitating and constructing our schools through the effort of the, through collaborating with the SBMCs and PTEs. This is not just a mere collaboration, but a way of involving each and every one. You stood in for other people's children. Where are your own children? So enrollment definitely will increase. And we are going back to that formal practice where parents take responsibility of children within the community. That's the only way we can solve our problems, because nowadays we find that I'm just for my child. I'm looking after my child. Even the orphans in the area are not being taken care of. But with this system, very soon, in the very near future, you find that in Zamfara State, no child will be left alone. They will be carried along to remain in school and complete. So far, we have this. These are some of the this I have recorded. That's why we are here. You are free to put in some of the efforts I have left out. But let me mention some of the partners that the government is putting in the collaboration with. We have UNICEF, we have UNESCO, we have non-governmental NGOs like Save the Children International, and we have international development agencies like USAID and UKAID. We have as well private sector organizations. Here, I'm also commending the effort of the Honorable Commissioner for Education for setting the committee on private schools. Already, each and every reachable private institution, be it in the primary or secondary school, has been reached by that committee, and report is there, ready for implementation. This is a very big achievement, because we find out that some of these private institutions, they are supporting the government, but in another way, we have our serious problems. So each and every child in Zamfara State has that right, and is being carried along. So very soon we find that the enrollment will be something to write home about. Just like what the Honorable Commissioner made mention, we are moving towards skill acquisition education. It is not to graduate and be given paper qualification. Already we have, the ministry has earmarked, and it has been taken by the council also, 3 schools in each zone: science, technical, and vocational. What do we need? This is the effort that the government will have to put in, so that the people or the children can rely on their own. Once you are skilled, you don't need anything. Let us borrow it from our brothers from the other side. We say the East. I don't want to mention tribe, but we say the East or South. You find a lot of them, they have not gone through this formal education. but they are skilled. And they are taking or carrying the country along. When you go to Lagos, you think that the Igbos own the land. Why? Because of their skill and their commitment to look for what is supposed to be theirs. We hope the third part of it, which the Honorable Commissioner mentioned, where the houses is something that is with us. So the government is trying to change this. This is giving way for people and all members of the society to look forward for better things to stand on their own. We have additional institutions, 5 girl child institutions established by the state. So Nani, Saminaka, Nahu, Chirawaya, where we have seen is an increased opportunity for the girl child to remain there. Now our main problem is the distance for the girl child to reach out to school. That's why some of the girls remain outside. But inshallah, with this development, a girl is there. If you take your child to Otorokoshi or Moriki or Mafara, the girl will come out skilled, that she can support herself and support the family, even without attending government work. So what else do you need? That is a big encouragement. It will, or it's opening a way for each and everyone to attend that school. The same with vocational schools, the same with technical schools, the same with science schools. So it is left for us, the managers, implementers of these educational laws, to act well in supporting the government's work. And that has led me to the role of community. We all know, as members of this society, without even being taught, we are supposed to support ourselves. I know many malams, they have been saying it. Personally, I know I have this experience that the government is just supposed to spare lead the educational policies. But implementation or the rightful ownership of teaching our children lies with the parents. It is not just for you to want a child and say the government take care of you. And that is why I always feel it as a big responsibility on women. That's the reason why God has given us that priority to our men.
Time, popularly known during that time I knew her as Soho Allah. I served under her for some good 6 years as her vice principal. While she was the principal, I was the vice principal in charge of academics. So I knew the passion with which she considers female education. She is very passionate about it. Very, very extraordinarily passionate about female education. And I also agree with her on the issue of the role of females in the society. They are the builders of the society. They are the ones who strengthened the society. But you have to have a well and soundly educated woman to ensure that you have a very solid, well-behaved children. They are the first teachers of our children. The first teachers. For the first 18 months or so, from the time the baby is born, the only person that baby knows clearly is the mother. Because the contact is always with the mother. 98% of the contact of the baby within that area is with the mother. So long as the mother is alive, that's the contact point. The child learns everything from the mom. The face identified is the face of the mom. The voice clearly identified is the voice of the man. It is after 2 years or so when the child is weaned, that's when they will begin to understand the kind of mustache we have as their fathers. Otherwise, it is the mother. So with the solid foundation from a mother that's well educated, you see a good crop springing up, going up, and be able to open up at a later time in life to give value to the society by contributing to the development of that society. So we are beginning with you. And just like we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the Prophet one asked, to whom should I give my utmost respect? He said to mother. So then after that one, who? He said your mother. Who again? Your mother. The fourth time he said your father. So you see, the mothers, we need to educate our children, female children. We need to give them education. We need to go after them. And like I said, this government has a political will. And that's why you have seen some female institutions are springing off much more than the male on. Newly opened schools for the females. And what we did is go to Sabinaka, go to Oranda Boda, and go to Gumi. You will see vocational schools for females. They have already been finished. And inshallah, by next academic session, they will start work. And they are being equipped. And those schools have been built by the UBEC to ensure that there is vocational training. On our own part, what we are doing is to get, between now and the end of August, is to have 3 girls' schools, one each from the senatorial zone, that we are going to upgrade and will be equipped with entrepreneurship equipment. Let's train the girls. And while there is marked improvement, and I want to say clearly that what is happening is there is a lot of advocacy and sensitization and awareness that has been going on. That's why you see now when schools close, the girls are like low cost everywhere. They are like low cost. But the major problem is most of them, after junior secondary school, they disappear. That is it. That is it. So how do we convince the parents to understand that they need to reach that level of senior secondary school before they are giving out in marriage? A lot of work needs to be done. We do that one. So we need to expand that access. We need to expand that access. We need to bring schools closer where we have concentration of female child, the girl child. We need to bring schools closer to that one because the parents will be more at ease, more at home with the fact that yes, if I look here, I can see my daughter. Whatever she's doing, I notice her. But if a girl should leave Kawulin Sarki and start going to Tunumwada to go to school or go to Sabo to go to school, the father is disturbed. What is happening in between that, especially the poor parent. For us who are civil servants or middle class, we can quickly carry them inside our cars and drop them. When they close, we rush out and bring them up, what we call school runs. But for the poor parent, what does that extra routine? Where is she? That apprehension will always be there. But when the school is closer, then the apprehension is taken care of. And that's why we need a lot to do that. We need a lot of work to expand access to this for the girl child. So thank you very much. So may Allah. I will now talk about interventions, people with suggestions, people with contributions, questions and answers. When we finish, we close for 15 minutes to go and pray before we call another. So may Allah to give us his last who has seen it the day before yesterday, he has seen it yesterday, and we are still with him today. That is the executive chairman of the service board. So let's have with him there. Let's start with him. So quickly, how many people intervention do we have before we go for answering prayer? 1, 2. Okay, that makes it easy.